So there we have it, folks. F1 is back, and with all kinds of talking points, let's have a bit of a discussion about the Bahrain Grand Prix. Firstly, I want to point out a video that I've also made today, which is to do with the We Race 1 message that F1 put out ahead of today's race. Yeah, you can find that in the description section down below. And do remember, if you do enjoy this video, make sure to stick around. I've got more motorsport content as well as Formula 1 content, and sim racing, streaming and racing going on every day here on YouTube. Let's just start off by saying it was brilliant to see F1 back, and especially in the kind of fashion that we saw it in today. Lewis Hamilton taking a very, very close win from Max Verstappen, with Valtteri Bottas quite a while down the road in third. The top 5 rounded out by Lando Norris and a charging Sergio Perez, whose poor qualifying was made even worse by electrical issues, putting him to a pit lane start. That said, there are talking points all throughout the field, and not just because of Perez's charge, but also the charge that Sebastian Vettel had, eventually hampered by collisions and penalties. But outside of this, the top 10 also saw both Ferraris with Leclerc in 6th and Sainz in 8th, Daniel Ricciardo in 7th, Tsunoda getting the first points for a Japanese driver at F1 race since 2012, and Lance Stroll rounding out the top 10, opening up the points book for Aston Martin. And let's talk about probably one of the main points of contention, which was that overtake. Max Verstappen going around the outside of turn 4, going off the track to overtake Lewis Hamilton, then being asked to give it back as he'd left the track and gained an advantage. Now, the FIA had said that turn 4 was not going to be policed in regards to track limits. However, this is where some really interesting and some really fascinating things happen in regards to the F1 rulebook. So, the way I think of it is F1 is about as much the political side of trying to just break the rules and push them to the very limits without exactly doing anything that's illegal as possible, as much as it is trying to work within these rules to do the best thing that you can do. And we saw this with turn 4. So turn 4 itself, it wasn't being policed for track limits, so you wouldn't get a penalty for running out there and setting a fast time as a result. However, that's not what is covered by overtaking. If you overtake somebody by going off the track, you've overtaken them by going off the track. So as much as, say, the Mercedes pairing of Hamilton and Bottas were going out wide, and they may have gained maybe a tenth or so, in terms of the relative track position, they didn't gain a position, they didn't pull off an overtake from that, so that was still perfectly legal. Then when Verstappen was forced out by Lewis and then went wide and did the overtake, he went off the track and gained an advantage, he gained a position. It may be that that's a really odd and nuanced way of doing it. You may think that's completely unfair, and you're well within your rights to think that. But that's the way the rules are, and that's the way that it works. And Red Bull really should know this. They're a team that have been trying to test the rules at every possible opportunity. It's just been the past couple of seasons, they haven't done that quite so much. And the team that has done is Mercedes. So in terms of where they are right now, like Verstappen, his restart from the safety car, that was very interesting. It looked like he'd brake checked and before he went off, but what he did, completely within the rules. Unless it was that he just stomped on the brake and Hamilton on the back of him, a la, let's say, Seb 2017 Baku and Lewis. So in terms of the strategy department, Red Bull still needs to do some work. But generally, they are getting much closer to where Mercedes are. The question is, was it a false dawn? Now, we don't really know what's going to happen in terms of the two, in terms of relative pace, because we saw what happened to Sergio Perez, where he had to start from the pit lane. May have been slightly nullified by doing things such as the safety car, but because Sergio ended up doing then an early pit stop, it then upset things even more, so there's no real relative between the second drivers of the team. But it means that we could be seeing Mercedes just being the better team, not necessarily with the better outright car. But I'll tell you what, even though there were turbo troubles for Latifi, it didn't seem like Mercedes need to worry about reliability in the same kind of way that Honda do. They may have a 2022 spec engine in the AlphaTauri and in the Red Bull now, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the most reliable setup, and as we've seen with the electronics, both with AlphaTauri and Red Bull, they might be under some kind of pressure over the course of the season. That said, I'm really looking forward to seeing where the rest of the season goes. It's going to be a matter of who's the better all-round team and all-round driver, and much as I've been arguing for quite a while now, the reason why Mercedes and Hamilton are just so dominant, the reason why the pair of them have 7 titles, and Mercedes have got 7 titles on the bounce, is because they're the best team. And with Lewis, who's won 6 of those 7 titles, it's also a matter of where he is. Verstappen might have the pace, but he's not the best driver, and I think we saw that with the battle between 33 and 44 today. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.